After a couple weeks on the road, that's sure a sight for sore eyes. The Dort Financial Center is filling up. The Firebirds and the Owen Sound attack. Flint's back after 5 straight games on the road and hoping to build on a big win in Sarnia on Wednesday night. We're throwing it back for Flint Generals night. Lots of fun is planned for the Firebirds and the attack. Flint Firebirds hockey is on the air, and it starts right now. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the broadcast booth for tonight's pregame show, driven by Shea Automotive. Here to tell you this story, I'm Brian Gardner. We got the Firebirds and the Owen Sound attack tonight, and the Birds back on home ice after 5 consecutive games on the road. A bit of a mixed bag. Now, wins bookended 3 consecutive losses, so the Birds picked up 2 wins. There was 1 overtime loss, 2 regulation losses during that 5-game road stretch. They're back home now tonight to take on the Owen Sound attack, a team that's been scuffling and enters play in 9th place in the Western Conference. And the Firebirds are expected to have a really big crowd on hand here on Generals Night. And since it is Generals Night, let's take a look at what they're going to be wearing this evening. Look at those beauties. The Flint Generals jerseys, yeah, we're throwing it back. They are aggressively 90s, and I personally absolutely adore them. Now, these are going to be auctioned off live post-game with proceeds benefiting the Old Newsboys of Flint, of course, honoring the Flint Generals squad that called Flint home for the old IHL days back in the UHL as well. A lot of championships. There was an alumni game earlier here this afternoon against the Detroit Red Wings, and those are the jerseys the Firebirds are going to be wearing this evening. So before we get too deep into this evening's game, though, let's look back at the highlights from each of these 2 teams, both of whom last played the Sarnia Sting. We'll begin on Wednesday in Sarnia. Birds give it away. Ryan Brown scores, and just past the halfway point of the first, it's 1-0 Sarnia. Later, though, on the power play, Urban Padrekar shot was wide, right to Chris Thibodeau on the back door. Not the last you'll hear from Thibodeau. Hayden Reed going to get in on the fun. How about his second OHL goal as Reed fires one from the bottom of the right circle. He shoots and scores, and it's Flint leading 2-1. But the Sting to answer. Easton Wainwright, power play, wins the faceoff. Back to Lucas Fisher. It took just 5 seconds. It's a 2-2 hockey game. Firebirds forcing some pressure in their own zone, but is the shot from the blue line deflected by Liam Beamish, his first OHL goal, and it's 3-2 Sarnia. Birds gonna tie it up again, though. How about Jeremy Martin? He's heating up, 7 points in his last 9 games. Martin goes 5-hole, and it's 3-3. But Sarnia, it's that man again. Look at Liam Beamish crashing the net one time, and he scores. Beamish with his second, and it's 4-3 Sarnia. Firebirds have the extra attacker on at this point, though. After a power play was not successful, that is Chris Thibodeau on the deflection off the shot from Caden Petrie. Thibodeau gets his stick in there. 12.4 seconds to go, and the game is tied into a shootout after a scoreless overtime. It took the 5th round for Jeremy Martin to end it with a snapper top shelf, and the Firebirds win it by a final score of 5-4. Last night, again in Sarnia, it's the Owen Sound attack and the Sarnia Sting, and Liam Beamish will score. Beamish fires one from long range, and he's starting to heat up. How about now Tyson Doucette off the stretch pass from Dylan Lukey. Doucette down the right wing, and he scores. It's 2-0 Sting. Attack gonna answer. How about Landon Hookey off the feed from Jake Crawford, a short-handed goal. Crawford sets up Hookey in front of the net, pretty much a pass off the left pad, and it's 2-1. Now the Sting trying to answer, though. They'll do so. Ruslan Karimov, he'll score in tight. Alessandro Diorio, nice feed, better finish from Karimov, and it's 3-1. Owen Sound now getting traffic in front of the net, and it's Pierce Bowie from Ben Cormier and Ellen Arnett, and it's a 1-goal hockey game. But late second period, it's a buzzer beater this time for Sarnia. Jack O'Brien off the feed, just 2 seconds to go in the period, made it 4-2. The Sting go on to win it by a final score of 5-2. Getting a look at these 2 teams and really kind of your tail of the tape, and it's a similar looking couple of hockey clubs. Neither team puts the puck in the net too frequently. Neither the Firebirds much better defensively, though, than Owen Sound is. It's both teams have struggled to score consistently. For the Birds, we've seen more signs of life than you have for Owen Sound, a really top-heavy team in terms of scoring. The Firebirds will hope they can build off of course, that shootout win. Owen Sound finishing out its road schedule for 2024. This is, in fact, the final game it's going to play away from home in 2024. Good penalty-killing team. Power play also tends to struggle, though, for Owen Sound. And that has them here in the standings, 7th and 9th, respectively. The Firebirds, with a win today, could find themselves into a tie for 6th place. Owen Sound trying to pull even with Sarnia, a team that it lost to, again, last night. Now, they were tied for 8th entering play yesterday. Starting to see a bit of a separation, really, from especially the top 3 in the Western Conference. Erie and Saginaw are still within reach. And the Firebirds, again, just 2 points back of 6th place. So despite some struggles for Flint, very much still in the mix of things to find themselves in the meat of that Western Conference. Well, yes, indeed, on Flint Generals night here at the Dordt Financial Center should be a really good crowd on hand, and there'll be these jerseys that'll be auctioned off post-game with proceeds going to the Old Newsboys of Flint. Other thing going on today is the Old Newsboys Toy Drive as we're getting into the holiday season here. Firebirds participated in the Old Newsboys paper sale yesterday, helping to raise money, leaving no child without what they need for Christmas and the holiday season. So it should be a lot of fun here this evening. That toy drive means that fans are able to get in with a little bit more affordable. And then, of course, also the Firebirds hosting the alumni game between the Detroit Red Wings alumni and the Flint Generals alumni earlier today. So lots of throwback feels, good vibes here at the Dordt Financial Center this evening, hoping that carries into the Firebirds game here against the Owen Sound Attack. Stick around a while. We're going to roll along in the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive. When we come back, we'll get a look at our players to watch, our lineups, who's in and who's out, all that and more when we come back after this. This is the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive, and this is the Firebirds Hockey Network.
All right, Chevy team, huddle up, huddle up. We really got to bring it this month. Banks, what do you got?
Lease a new Chevy Silverado for as low as $298 a month.
Go Chevy!
Theo, what do you got?
Lease the all-new 2020-25 Chevy Equinox for as low as $299 a month.
Go Chevy!
Connie, what do you got?
Lease a Chevy Blazer for as low as $289 a month.
Go Chevy!
Let's get the best deal for our past, present, and future customers. What do we say? What do we chant?
Just Chevy!
It's the Firebirds and the Owen Sound Attack. Flint and Owen Sound for the second time this season. Birds have yet to make a trip to Owen Sound, but this is the final trip to this building for Owen Sound this year. Let's get a look at for today's lineups as we'll begin with the Owen Sound Attack. Now, this is a team that is a little bit top-heavy in terms of who's going to put the puck in the net. You'll expect really most of the performance from the top 6 in terms of scoring, but for Owen Sound, another really thing to look at is the absence of Carter George. He's, of course, right now kind of dealing with Hockey Canada responsibilities as World Juniors Camp is underway, and the would-be Canada World Junior team was playing the U Sports All-Stars the last couple of nights with Carter George between the pipes, so he is not here for the Owen Sound Attack. But our players to watch are here, and we'll begin with a former Firebird. How about James Petrosky? Petrosky, who was originally drafted by the Firebirds in the second round in 2021. Former Firebird was traded to Owen Sound in November couple of seasons ago. Now, he was a guy who had been a Firebird, but now has very long been an Attack, and he's picking up points, not really goals though. 16 assists, near the top of the scoring list for the Attack, really solely on that. Watch him to be a guy to move the puck a lot back there on the blue line. Petrosky, an alternate captain for Owen Sound. Landon Hookey, one of the guys who's going to put up points. He's over a point per game with 32 of them on the season. Last couple of games, 4 goals. He did score last night against the Sarnia Sting, one of 2 goals that they had. He's an overager. He just played in Sarnia last night. That's his hometown. That's the penultimate trip he's going to make there as a member of the Owen Sound Attack. Again, 32 points leads the way for Owen Sound. And finally, to Sam McHugh, right winger, the Toronto Maple Leafs prospect. McHugh, 18 goals on the season. That leads the team. Now, his last 3 games, 5 points, 2 goals and 3 assists. 4 points against Guelph on Wednesday, as yesterday the Attack in that loss. He didn't show up on the score sheet. One thing for Sam McHugh, a guy who's putting the puck in the net for Owen Sound. Last time they were here, they did not score. They were shut out by Nathan Day and company. So you know McHugh wants to make sure there's not another bagel next to the Owen Sound name on the scoreboard. Now to the Firebirds, and the Birds lineup looks a little bit different today. Notably on the bottom line, on the fourth line, the right winger, Brendan Cook making his OHL debut today. No for the Firebirds. No Jeremy Martin today, a late and surprise scratch. Nathan Day is back between the pipes for the Birds once again, as Flint also has Connor Clattenburg in the lineup after he missed the last game with an upper body injury. So the Birds, our players to watch, will begin with the guy who had a couple of goals last time they were on the ice. How about Chris Thibodeau? Thibodeau leads the team in points now with 22 of them, 8 goals and 14 assists. He had the game-tying goal in dramatic fashion with just 12.4 seconds on the clock. Thibodeau missed a couple of games with an upper body injury recently, but he's been dynamic the last couple of times he's been on the ice. Good to see that from the speedy winger, Chris Thibodeau, out there for the Firebirds here this evening. Urban Padrekar on the blue line, 3 points in his last 5 games, and before that on the season, he had just 3 points overall. So we're starting to see Padrekar really finding his way on the Firebirds blue line. Out there paired once again with Nolan Collins. That's been a good pair for Flint. He assisted on the first Thibodeau goal. It was the power play tally. His one-timer went wide, but Thibodeau got it off the carom. Padrekar starting to make a few more plays and also playing steady hockey back there on the blue line. And to Evan Conyon. Now, Conyon in his last 6 games, he has 4 points. That might not seem like a lot, but notably, Conyon snapped a long goal-scoring drought. He had gone 16 games between goals, and it seems like the lid is off the jar for Evan Conyon. The overage winger, you can see kind of in the process, he's near the top of the leaderboard for the Firebirds in shots on goal. He's getting chances, they just were not going in. But hopefully, this is the sign of more things to come and a bit of a breakout performance moving forward for Evan Conyon, one of our guys to keep an eye on. Players to watch here this evening for Flint Generals night against the Owen Sound Attack. So the Birds and the Attack getting set to go at it. Firebirds trying to make it back-to-back wins here this week, as after today, only 2 more games before the Birds take over a week break for the holidays. So get your fill right now before everybody gets to put their feet up for a couple of days. Hey, stick around. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, though, we'll have starting lineups. We'll have anthems. We'll have puck drop. This has been the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive. It's the Firebirds and the Attack on the Firebirds Hockey Network.
Hello? Are you there? The Shea Megalot is hosting their annual pre-owned lease pull-ahead. Are you upside down on your trade?
Over on your miles?
We'll buy your car.
Don't just turn your lease in.
We'll buy your car.
Is your current payment too high?
We'll buy your car.
Trapped in your lease?
We'll buy your car.
Not in the market for a car?
We'll still buy your car.
Are your service bills adding up?
We'll buy your car.
Bad credit?
We'll buy your car. Plus, the Shea Megalot has over 500 pre-owned and certified vehicles to choose from. Just Shea'n.